Hi everyone, welcome to the benchmarking tool sync in the workgroup serving. Today, the date is July 10th, 2025. Um, Please add yourself to the attendees, and if you have topics, let's add it to the notes. I just put one topic on the API to start with, and then can go over our usual triaging and open PRs and any specific topics we might have. Okay, let's get started with this one. I think Nick created this issue on having an API. We had a brief discussion last time on this.
Yeah, so I just made a few small changes. So this would be an example of a disaggregated setup where you have a single prefill and 3 decode pods. So this is also a heterogeneous setup. So there's different amounts of parallelism between the prefill and the decode pod. So what I've done here is for each pod, I've just listed the under the scenario host accelerator. It's a list of different configurations of GPUs. So for the prefill pod, for example, you just have a single GPU. And then for each of the decode pods, you have 8 GPUs, and you're using tensor parallel and expert parallel. And the results that you get from each of these pods, it would be aggregate when looking at the entire system for metrics like time to first token and throughput, but then for details like GPU utilization and memory utilization, those would be they would be aggregate just within a particular pod. So maybe you have 8 GPUs in a pod. You wouldn't distinguish between each of the GPUs, but you would look at those 8 GPUs in aggregate. What's my percentage of memory utilization or CPU or compute utilization within the pod? So at least for now, I think this would fit the use case of having heterogeneous setups with disaggregated prefill and decode. I don't know if there's other examples where this sort of setup wouldn't fit, or maybe if this division between what parts do you aggregate and what parts do you not aggregate, maybe there's certain scenarios where this wouldn't work, but at least for now, I can't think of examples where this wouldn't cover the cases that I think people are interested in. Oh, and then another point that was brought up the last meeting that we discussed this was, while we're trying to capture a lot of details about the scenario that you're running and the environment that you're running it in, you don't want to get to the level of detail that you're recreating what Kubernetes manifest includes. So I think we want to just capture the high level items that are pretty much always useful to people. But I think there are going to be use cases when benchmarking different components of a system where you're going to want to know about details about like the routing or the caching methodologies or other aspects that are unique to that particular benchmark. And we do want to allow for details about these to go in there. So one possible option is to just, in most fields, allow for the addition of a metadata field. And then under that metadata field, you can basically throw whatever you want. So, add extra details. You can throw an entire Kubernetes manifest in that metadata field if you really wanted to. So I just want to make sure that we have a good structure that describes the bulk of what is trying to be accomplished in benchmarking and describing the environment and the workloads that are being generated. But then for unique use cases, we should allow some flexibility for people to add the details that they want. And if it turns out that, there's certain types of benchmarking that are being run very often and they're not captured in the sort of standard schema of describing things, then we could eventually make an amendment to what the sort of standard schema looks like for these particular use cases. So again, open to any feedback here.
Yeah, that makes sense overall. I like how it is laid out here. A couple of things I can see. So we will capture some of the latency and other metrics at each QPS today separately, right? We do have a summary, but you also see this being reported for specific QPS. So there can be multiple of these. Right now, I think we are writing those two separate files, but it might make sense to list them in one place too. And yeah, the accelerator utilization makes sense. Mainly, yeah, one possibility is like if we have a lot more missions, a lot more accelerators, how do we, this list could keep growing, right? So it looks like instead of going at a single accelerator level, this seems to go at the server level, right? For example, Decode could be 8 GPUs, and this would be the combined aggregate from all those missions, right?
Yeah, so it's sort of like a pod level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, we can also start and then evolve this as we go. I wanted to get people's thoughts as well. I know Jason was looking at a similar API before. Jason, do you have any thoughts on this, on what we could start with here?
I think I'll take a deeper look at this and give some feedback on the open issue. But overall, it makes sense to me. I think treading the line between the manifest description and like a reproducible benchmark be a little tough, but
yeah, mainly it's a balance between how much detail we add into the top level API itself, right? Obviously, like we can store a lot more things, like the entire manifest, anything related to the cluster that you might want to capture, Kubernetes version, and a bunch of other things, maybe GPU driver and whatnot. But yeah, keeping it with an initial set that we think is important would be a good place to start.
Yeah, I think yeah, I agree. Would be a good feature to have in our next release. Some minimal form of this. Also, would be good to see what uh, attributes are optional and what are mandatory. So to create a minimum or like a file that would create that's like the minimum data that's needed to start a test, so that the barrier to kick off a test or start some like a quick start example is not too hard. So that would be important.
Agree. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we don't necessarily need people to specify everything, right? If someone wants to just kick off with the specific a load generator config like we have today to kick off, I think that should be okay. In which case our output will still take that in and then produce something like this with the information that it has. Other things could be optional. But if you specify more things via the API, then it will make it easier to keep track of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Yeah, I think overall this makes sense to me. It would be good to see how this would look with our existing config to kick off runs. Maybe all of this could go into the load generation part that we have there. What we name it would be something we can decide to. Okay. Does anyone want to work closely with Nick on this so we can have the initial API defined and maybe start getting some PRs in? I don't know, Jason, do you have time? Maybe early next week?
Sure, I can make time next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Yeah, so for next steps, let's continue to make any minor changes to the API and then have a PR to start this and get some more feedback and merge it. Cool. Anything else on that one, Nick?
I think something that would be, sorry, I was going to say something that would be useful is we figured list the things we need to do as part of that change, updating examples, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Nick, were you gonna say something?
Oh, no, I had nothing else to add.
Okay, cool. Okay, can look into the new issues triage. Let's see. So first one we have how to run entrance perf offline. So this seems to be a request to not have Hugging Face dependency. You want to specify the model tokenizer, etc. Yeah, I think it makes sense to have some example on how to do this. I think tokenizer today you can probably specify from your local environment. For model, maybe we might need to do a persistent volume or something like that. Any thoughts on this one?
I think the data set also, like, we have a dependency on Hugging Face for the data set. And I think she's posted the same comment on the issue that was assigned to me. Like, I think it's 127.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we need to take care of that as well. Data set as well, along with model tokenizer.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too. Maybe we provide step steps to download ShareGPT. Someone wants to run it just
Right.
from just locally. Yeah. Cool. Aishwarya, do you want to
Yeah.
contribute to this one?
Yeah, I think it's related to the previous issue. So yeah, I can take this up.
Okay, that would be great. Thanks. Okay, next one is handle SIGINT gracefully. Jason, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, basically you can define a multi-stage experiment that for one reason or another you want to cancel, but it would still be useful to have information from some of the early stages that ran. The load generator could handle SIGINT and then proceed to report gen. So that's what this feature is for.
Makes sense. So we don't about the whole thing and not have anything to show. Yeah, this seems like a good one to have as well, especially for long running benchmarks. Jason, are you planning on taking this, or do you want to backlog this and
This is
see if
probably
someone else can take it?
a good first issue. I don't have immediate plans to do this.
Yeah, makes sense.
Ashok, hi Ashok. I'll probably take this. I might need little help to understand like what's happening because it's been like close to a month or month and a half since I like contributed anything. I was just settling in a new job, so I'll be happy to take this, but I'll need some help to understand like what's going on right now with the like code base.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks for volunteering to take this. Maybe Jason can add a comment with some more details
Sure.
on how we could possibly help this.
Sure.
Oh. Moving on, support for model scope. I'm not sure what model scope is. Is that, do you know if it is similar to Hugging Face, or if anyone has used it before? Yeah, it seems like some model as a service thing, so it might not. Yeah, I'm just looking at this here. Probably Alternative people are using in China. From the URLs here. Yeah, let me ask for more info on this one. Okay, this one we already went through. We'll follow up. Maybe I'll remove the triage. Cool. So those are the untriaged list. Just looking at this here. Yeah, I think we have a couple of them marked as good first issues. So others are interested. Please feel free to pick those up. And I noticed one issue with streaming request, especially when testing with LLMD. So I'll gather some details and create a bug here. In terms of open issues, we still have an item on Shen to see how we can merge some of the deployment aspects of FMPerf into InferencePerf. So it is easier to consolidate. This seems like a change that's already approved. Yeah, it's like a simple change. So we can merge it. Cool. Just one more recent update on a change that we added. So now you can actually analyze the report that is being produced. We are able to see like latency in time to first token, normalized T-part, and inter-token latency. And we also have different throughput dimensions, input, output, and total tokens. And we can also do latency versus throughput curve. So this should be useful after we have the benchmark report to generate these charts. And one more recent change that went in from Jason was to add some observability into what the actual achieved QPS is. So that should be useful as well to see with our distributed load gen if we are able to hit the QPS that we requested for. Cool. And one last thing I wanted to point out, we did like a small presentation / demo of the tool in workgroup serving yesterday. This is a link to the presentation, and there should be a recording as well. Let me add that here. Yeah, if anyone is interested, please take a look.
One more question. Are we able to cut release like a 0.1.1 with the shared GPT data gen?
Yeah, I think we should be able to. The main thing is being bug fixes and the ability to analyze and a few more things that we added post 0.1 for stability. Yeah, let's do this. Anyone wants to volunteer to cut a release? Or was there, did we need the person to be a maintainer to cut a release? Last time I think we checked. Okay, I'll take a look to see. Yeah, if it has to be a maintainer, then I can take this up to get a release out. And I'm also hoping we can add some more regular contributors as reviewers and eventually maintainers going in. So let me send out a PR as well, because right now I think we have very few people who are able to review and approve. All right. Anything else? Okay, we'll see you all next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.